Revolving Days, David Malouf. David Malouf, who was born in 1934, is an acclaimed Australian poet, novelist, and short story writer. His writings convey a lyrical wisdom about human experience within the Australian landscape. David Malouf's Revolving Days revolves around a romantic affair of his early days that has left an indelible imprint in his mind. Vivid snapshots of those sensory moments of the past and the way he concludes the poem prove his genuine love. David Malouf recollects the days when he was in love with a blue eyed girl. As he had nowhere to go, he fell in love. The enduring power of memory still shows in his memory screen the different shirts he had worn to impress her. One shirt was mint green, another one was pink, the third, named Ivy League, was tan with darker stripes. That was actually his first button down collar shirt. When he was knotting his tie before a mirror, he had expected her stepping into the room. Though they had promised many things, they got separated. The poet doesn't know where she is now and who is staring into her blue eyes. Though he mentions about all this in this poem, he says that he won't appear out of the old time to discomfort her. Even he is not holding his breath for a reply. Symbolism has effectively been used in the color of the shirts. Alliteration, apostrophe, and enjambment beautify the poem. An underlying melancholy is there in the poem when the poet talks about the transitory nature of the youthful relationships. But the poet has succeeded to immortalize his genuine love with the help of the enduring power of memory used in this poem. Threshold, Ocean Vuong. Ocean Vuong, an eminent Vietnamese American poet, was born in Saigon, Vietnam in 1988, and his parents immigrated to the United States when he was 2 years old. His poetry explores the themes of cultural identity, sexuality, family relationships, and displacement. He has won Whiting Award and T.S. Eliot Prize for his poetry collection Night Sky with Exit Wounds that was published in 2016. Threshold is the very first poem in that anthology. It portrays the poets secretly observing a man singing in the shower as an important moment of transformation in his life. As the poet was looking through the keyhole of the door of the shower, he couldn't clearly see the singing man, most likely his father. Water was falling on his round shoulder like snapped strings of a guitar. Then the boy was standing on his knees as a beggar. The song from the shower filled the boy to the core like a skeleton getting filled with flesh. Even his name knelt down inside him, asking him to be spared. Actually, the boy did not know what price he had to pay for entering the song. However, then he lost his boyhood and became a grown up when he had his eyes kept wide open. Something awakened in him and brought about a transformation, a sexual and psychological maturity. He realized that he was no more a colt but a horse. His new understanding changed his perspective. He lost his boyhood of innocence and curiosity and entered a new realm of adulthood. The opening line, "In the body where everything has a price," is the theme of the poem. Body becomes a site of identity and vulnerability in the poem. The poet effectively depicts the connection between the body and mind through various images and symbols in the poem. Module 2, Stories. Uncle Podger hangs a picture. Jerome K. Jerome. Jerome Klapka Jerome, who was born in 1859 and who died in the year 1927, was a famous humorist and a writer of comic novels. His well-known works are Idle Thoughts of an Idle Fellow, Three Men in a Boat, and Three Men on the Bummel. His Uncle Podger hangs a picture is a comic portrayal of Uncle Podger, who believes that he was the most suitable person for the job of hanging a picture on the wall. Whereas he messes up everything and at the end hangs the picture in a crooked manner. Uncle Podger is known for his exaggerated sense of self-importance and his tendency to make a simple task into a troublesome work to all in the family. One day, he decides to hang a picture on the wall of his living room. He takes off his coat and starts his work. He sends the maid to buy some nails. Then he sends one of the boys after her to tell her what size to get. He asks Will to get him a hammer. He tells Tom to get the rule. He also asks Jim to go to Mr. Goggles and get the spirit level. Then, when he tries to get the picture from Tom, it slips and somehow the glass comes out from the frame and cuts Uncle Podger's finger. He shouts for his coat to get his handkerchief from the pocket to stop the bleeding. Actually, he is sitting on the coat when all are looking for it. However, a new glass is brought, and when he tries to make a mark on the wall again, he falls upon the piano. And then, when he tries to hammer, it is dropped on the toe of someone. Aunt Maria is so unhappy on seeing all this. Finally, about midnight, somehow the picture is hung on the wall in a crooked and insecure manner. Just to hang a picture on the wall, Uncle Podger gets helps from all the people in the house, including the cha woman. But he takes all the credit and says with pride at the end, "Why, some people would have had a man in to do a little thing like that." Thus, the story ends with a statement that reveals the character of Uncle Podger in an effective and humorous way. War. Luigi Pirandello. Luigi Pirandello, who was born in 1867 and who died in the year 1936, was an eminent Italian dramatist, novelist, poet, and short story writer who was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1934. His tragic farces are often seen as forerunners of the absurd plays. Six Characters in Search of an Author is one of his best modernist plays. His War, written in 1918, focuses its attention on a group of people on a train who either have their loved ones fighting in the war or have lost a loved one due to the war. A night express train from Rome stopped at the station Fabriano. There were 5 people in the carriage. A bulky woman and a tiny man looking shy and uneasy got into the carriage from Fabriano. All the 5 came to know from them that their only son, a student, was about to be sent to the war front. So they were going to see him off. Having heard this, one passenger said that he had 2 sons and 3 nephews at the war front. Thus their discussion moved towards who was sacrificing the most. If a man with 2 sons lost one, the other son would be there to comfort him. He had to live with the pain of the death of his son. But the man with only one son could end his miserable life, having had his son died in the war. Then a fat man said that dying young and happy spared the young men from boredom and disillusionment of life. So they gladly fought and died for the love of their country. Actually, they were not theirs, but their country's children. That was why he said that he didn't even mourn the death of his son. Having heard this, all passengers agreed with him. The inconsolable wife and husband found strength then. All congratulated that brave father who could so stoically speak of his child's death. But when the woman asked whether his son was really dead, the stoic man took his handkerchief and broke into harrowing, heartrending, uncontrollable sobs. Thus Pirandello portrays the nature of loss and how for each individual their own loss seems more substantial than that of others, along with the nature and necessity of wars. Green Leaves. Grace Ogot. Grace Ogot, who was born in 1930 and who died in the year 2015, was a well-known writer, radio announcer, cabinet minister, and a diplomat of Kenya. Her works like The Promised Land, Land Without Thunder, The Other Woman, and The Island of Tears chronicle the folklore and mythologies of Luo people and their cultural conflicts with the colonial rule. The green leaves taken from Land Without Thunder of Ogot narrates how mankind is inextricably linked to greed, crime, and superstitions, along with polygamy's dominant role in a man's social status. Heavy footsteps and voices outside make Nyaga get up from his bed. As he can't find his wife, Nyamunde, he grabs his spear and club and goes outside. Someone yells out that 3 men have stolen his cattle. As the cattle thieves have taken the wrong turn, they miss the bridge that separates the Masala from Merogi people. One escapes and the other stabs Omoro's shoulder blade and jumps in the fast-moving water. Nyagar takes the knife and attempts to stop the bleeding of Omoro. The villagers beat the third one until the man no longer moves. Omoro says that if the thief dies in front of them, his spirit will rest upon the village of the clan. So he asks all to go back to their huts after heaping some green leaves on the body. All leave from that place then. On his return to the hut, Nyaga takes out his medicine bag and takes some ash from a bamboo container. He swallows some of it and blows some in the direction of the gate to prevent the ghost of the dead man coming to him. But as he needs the money of the dead man, he goes and searches the pocket of the dead man and finds nothing. When he tries to remove a bag from the neck of the dead man, the thief, who is not dead, drives a thick stick through his eyes, and Nyaga dies on the spot. The thief hides the body with green leaves and escapes. Thus, the greedy Nyaga, who has 3 wives and 12 children, dies unexpectedly. In the next morning, the European policeman, Ulielo, the clan leader, Nyamunde, and all the villagers are shocked to find Nyaga's body instead of the thief when they brush the leaves away. The green leaves are actually the symbol of deceits and concealment in the story. What they conceal is also not what it seems. Nyamunde's song of mourning in the end too sheds light on the multiple levels of oppression faced by African women in the structure of patriarchy.